Today we're getting into the last song of a trilogy in a tribute to Kylie Minogue, being one of the greatest female pop icons now globally. And I can say that with a big smile because she's cracked America in a way she never thought she would. The Tension Tour has released all that tension in Kylie. And now Kylie fans around the world are saying, America has woken up to our queen of pop. And that's why we call her the queen. America always had Britney Spears, Cher, Madonna. They did. Australia had Kylie Minogue. England and Australia shared Kylie Minogue, and the whole of the world shared Kylie. But the market that she found the hardest to crack was America. But the Tension Tour, since Padam Padam and the awards that have followed since, have opened up so many doors for this lustrous career that Kylie Minogue has had in the pop music industry to prove she's not just a survivor, she's one of the greatest icons living at the moment, producing pop. In an industry that's so cutthroat, Kylie has rose above it and survived. Well done, Kylie, on a successful Tension Tour. And this is my tribute. This is the third video I've made of the 90s era of Kylie Minogue, and it's one of my favorite songs as well. So if I do dance, I'll be going back in time in my head to that era. The song itself, I want you to give a background to it because this is what it's about. It's by Kylie from her third studio album, Rhythm of Love, in 1990. It was released as the album's second single in October. And the track was written, arranged and produced by Mike Stock, Matt Aiken and Pete Waterman, who are collectively known, as I explained in my previous video, Stock, Aiken and Waterman, the producers of Kylie's earlier music, and lots of other stars as well. And was recorded in London, this particular track, United Kingdom. Musically, it's a disco song that lyrically pays tribute to the 1970s culture. That's why we're going back in time. What does the meaning mean though? The lyrics stipulate this. It's a catchy, energetic disco pop, as always. And that is what everybody loves Kylie for. Although check out my video for Breathe, because I think you will also say that rivals the song Slow from Kylie, that it was so popular on the Tension Tour. So I threw in Breathe as one of the songs I love because I know you'll love it too. And now let's breathe about this catchy, energetic tune, a visit to the past, to the joys of, and bringing it into the present. The lyrics suggest a longing for a carefree, vibrant atmosphere of the old days, and that's what Kylie does well on her tours. She brings in the old songs, the old days, and they're so popular. And here's a thought. On my third video in dedication to Kylie and her successful world tour, now becoming a global icon, cracking America, smashing it to smithereens, I say to Kylie, why don't you do, Kylie, a 90s tour in years to come, a revival 90s tour, and just to appease everybody and give your new legion of fans something to reflect on. That, wow, I can understand now why my father, why my older brothers, why people before me, if they're much younger, because you've captured a younger audience, it'll be a relatable tour where young and old can go together and share the experience of your earliest stuff. I think it's worth thinking about really just putting out there all your previous, like a greatest hits tour, but from the 90s and maybe end of 80s, 90s, a 90s tour. I think you would smash it, Kylie. Oh, it's something to think about for the future. But this is about escaping to that era, way back in the 70s, a vibrant atmosphere of the old days. It invokes nostalgia, especially in me being a huge Kylie fan and growing up with her. And it is musically, that is, and desire to relive the excitement and dance culture associated with the time and give an indication to your younger fans, Kylie, why we loved the 70s and 80s. Because now that you're so current and in vogue, it's nice to go back and bring this into the future where it justifiably belongs. Let's enjoy a memory and let's step back in time all together now as a Kylie fan and savor this moment. And I'll give you a breakdown of the lyrics straight after. I wanna F-F-U-F-U-N-K. I wanna funk. I wanna funk. I wanna F-F-U-F-U-N-K. I wanna funk. I wanna funk. I wanna F-F-U-F-U-N-K. Together now. Woo. Take it away, Kylie. So we step back in time and all the ads came up and other songs I'm sure you'll follow through on. But it was an era that we invented our own dances. That was my little dance on the dance stage. I used to go in front of masses of people and just dance away. And I didn't care. And now it's actually quite cool to be a Kylie fan. She's made it cool, her music, even in this cycle decade, 2025, all these years later. Kylie, I've grown up with you. I've got grey hairs to prove it. But the wonderful memories. And I finish it with giving you a breakdown. The song begins with that repetition, I Want a Funk, which sets a lively and funky atmosphere, so it does, to the beat. It was the beats and the catchiness of the music of Stock, Aitken and Waterman that I don't think will ever be repeated by producers. Because number one, a lot of producers don't do what they do. They worked in harmony, and a lot of producers today are competitive. And I think I am seeing more and more songwriters get together with producers. But producers themselves, I think they need to step out of their comfort zone and work with others and do more duets together and harmonize their lyrics, and they'll probably find a whole era of music and then just put voices like they do in those EDM tracks that we hear on YouTube. But anyway, it escapes to that time, brings it into the present of the 70s, and it's a longing for that carefree and vibrant atmosphere. That's why I don't care when I hear that song, because I want a funk when I hear it. I really do. And it brings to mind a legacy of classical disco we're missing in on the dance floors today. Do you know what I'm tired of saying? And I'm going to raise my hand to this. I'm tired of saying every time there's a wedding, you think there's going to be a disco moment, or you think there's going to be everybody on the floor doing the locomotion or whatever. And not just Kylie's version, many locomotion versions are out there, and they're all good, especially when you harmonize with people out for a good time. And what I'm trying to say is this, that if I see one more in Ireland, one more Irish jig, river dance, yes, is good, but in every single wedding and every single, you kind of go, ugh. I say bring back Kylie's memories, bring back a few of her songs, put them all together like I've done this weekend, 3 of them for you to savor in the 90s, and just relive the moment, and I guarantee you'll pop it for the night. The mention of the OJ successful soul and R&B brings to mind that legacy of classical disco that we've just seen. because it's of the joyous nature it brought in and around that time of their music as well. And the mention of dancing bus stop and blaming it on the boogie, it just further emphasizes nostalgia. It's full of nostalgia, the song, and that's what it's about. It's elements to desire and create dance moves of the past. And they were my dance moves, and that's what I was sharing with you, because we had our own way of doing our own dance moves. And they were very into, like, you would look at me doing that, maybe, and maybe laugh, or maybe say, wow. And you'd look at other people doing their dance version of it. And what Kylie has done very cleverly in the production and the editing of this video is Kylie's doing different versions of the same song in different moves and different ways and different guises, which she was famous for from the beginning of time in her music career. Now the chorus, it reminds us of the current music landscape, lack of, we're getting less and less disco-y, and it feels devoid, I feel, in the music industry somewhere, of inspiration. And that's why we go back to the 90s and 80s, because it was full of vitality. And sometimes for us to musically be satisfied, well, we all have to step back in time, as the song says. Now, the phrase in the lyrics, I need to point this out, the ball of confusion. People say, why is that thrown in? It's referring to the state of being overwhelmed by the chaos and lack of novelty in the present. That you're confused, that when you go back to an era of Kylie and this era of her music, and you're joyous and you're dancing, and you see your parents or your older siblings doing their dances to it, the present seems quite boring. And that's what I'm saying. We're stepping into a boring phase, I think, with music and disco music. It's kind of, if I see another female artist half-dressed shaking her booty, trying to represent the Latino world when she's not Latino and she doesn't really have the moves, and it's quite staged, it just becomes boring to watch. I think there's a lot of repetitiveness, whereas the 90s and 80s was a lot of individualism in the music, further reinforcing the need for this disco music, an idea of us seeking refuge in the past, just after a few minutes of escapism. So the second verse goes on, and that encourages you to move forward, riding the love train, positivity, and navigating the challenges of life. And the bridge is about the old days associated with that kind of thought. It reinforces the idea of walking in rhythm, because we hear that, and living to the fullest. Overall, for me, step back in time is this. It's encouraging you, the listener, to escape back into an era of your parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles' time, if you're much, much younger, which today's music listeners are. They're getting young and younger. It's about going back to an era that even Kylie Minogue goes back to in her concerts, and fans want her to, because music like this is what made her pop and rock from the beginning. And she has to realize a big part of her audience likes to be remembered why they fell in love with her, and she doesn't forget that as an artist, and too many artists do. The other one, the modern artist that doesn't, is a male artist, Benson Boone. If you ever see his concerts, the way he can reminisce, go into a song, draw out the crowd and say it's from an era from his past, and maybe somebody in the crowd was from that time, place, era. Like recently had an ex-girlfriend that he touched on in a song, and it was about her, and she was there in the audience and he called her out. It's that kind of going back in time, bringing it into the present and making it fun and personal and still fun at the same time. And Benson was the only one that recently I've seen do that the way Kylie can do it. So it's about that atmosphere, solace, rejuvenation, to capture joy of a bygone spirit and bygone days. But it doesn't have to be. All we have to do is tune into Kylie's earlier recordings and relive the moment like I did. And I've done it 3 times this week for you, so enjoy my trilogy of 90 nostalgia Kylie Minogue songs. In thanks to Kylie's music. Thanks to everything she's contributed towards the music industry and given me memories to share with you. Bye for now.